On this vote, the yeas are 228, the nays are 187. The bill is passed. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
That was the reauthorization of the Voting Rights Act. Every reauthorization of the Voting Rights Act since 1965 has received bipartisan support. In 2006, 192 Republicans voted for that reauthorization. 33 voted against. Today, Republicans voted almost unanimously against the measure. The lone Republican to vote in favor was this man, Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania. Back with us, Zerlina Maxwell and Anna Marie Cox. Zerlina, I don't even know what to say about that.
Well, look, I've been thinking a lot about this because I'm trying to think through the demographic shifts that are happening in the country. So Pew Research has predicted that this country is going to be majority non-white by 2045. And what that means is that the Republicans, the traditional Republican voters are going to be a minority nationally, not necessarily in some of these more gerrymandered districts, but essentially, I think what this says is they're aware that the demographic shifts and the present realities are not on their side. And for me, that's fundamentally a problem. People died for my right to vote. My grandfather and aunt both marched in Selma, Alabama. My aunt was only 17 years old, and she hid from the Ku Klux Klan the night before the march. And so for me, the right to vote is a sacred one. And for Republicans not to understand that we should expand access to more people and then fight over the ideas later, and whoever gets the most votes wins, that's the system that we should all want. That's really a troubling reality to be living through.
I mean, Anna Marie Cox, this is a layup. This is not complicated. This is not asking people to stretch the imagination very much to vote for the reauthorization of the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
I don't think so. No one here thinks so. You know, I'm a little bit of an expert on Congressman Fitzgerald, is it? Fitzpatrick? Fitzgerald? See, I'm an expert because I looked at his Wikipedia page. And, you know, what's interesting about him is he's a former FBI agent. So clearly he's a member of the deep state. Or he is a institutionalist who values the structures of democracy. It also turns out he was head of their Election Crimes Commission and was once stationed in Ukraine and in Iraq. So I think he knows something about the fragility of democracy. And speaking of the fragility of democracy, I know the same numbers that Zerlina talked about. And what frightens me about the Republicans voting against this is the brazenness of it. Their willingness to show their hand, that they do not even want to try to compete on a level playing field. To me, and I've said this before, but to me, this terrifies me, because to me, this says that this is a party that isn't worried about winning a fair election because they don't think there are going to be any more of them.
Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on the button below for more from The Last Word and the rest of MSNBC.